Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Development All Access here at 10 o'clock. And from this day forward, 10 o'clock will be a time that I engage with you every single day. And we're going to talk about different things. Mondays, we talk about media and marketing. Tuesdays, we're going to talk about leadership. Wednesdays, we'll be talking about networking. Thursdays, we're going to talk about business. And on Fridays, we're going to keep it open. And whatever happens in the world, we'll discuss that. I have a very, very exciting show today because Development All Access, we aim to have great interviews with great people about the great things that they do. And today, I'm very honored to have on my very first show, Elana Schutte, who is an internet marketer, but I would say she's very much like me, also coaching clients on the online space and content development, etc. She's also hustling, creating content and having programs, etc. And I think I want to talk about that today with Elana. Elana, very, very, very welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Let's kick it off by talking about you and what you do. Take me back to how did you get started in the industry and why?
Shoo, how long do we have? No, I'm joking. I won't bore you with the details. But I got started in the online space around 3 to 4 years ago. My husband and I also started our business about 7 years ago. And I wanted to, we had all our eggs in one basket. And as I was marketing, that company of ours did really well just on word of mouth for like the first 3 years. But we both knew, it's not going to last forever. We need to actually start investing back into the company and in marketing. So in doing that, I'm very tech savvy. I love, tech. And I started looking around on Facebook and playing around with Facebook ads, etc. And came across a really cool course and ended up doing an agency, how to start your own online marketing agency course to actually help our business. But it was so much fun and I loved it so much. I thought, okay, broer, you're on your own now, dude. I'm going to do this. I'm starting my own agency. I don't want to be in that company anymore. So, but it was also to diversify our income. It was a nice half. I could either do it part-time or full-time, etc. But I decided to go all in. And that was about 3 years ago. It was a very intense learning curve. And then I started taking on clients. And since then, it's just grown. And obviously, it changes so quickly. The online space and the digital space changes so quickly. So if you're not in it the whole time, you actually just lose touch. Every year, there's an update, Facebook updates, lovely. They've just ran their new updates again. So it's like you have to start all over again. But yes, that's pretty much in a nutshell how I got started.
I also hate it, especially when Google does an algorithm update and then everything is to start from scratch. And SEO is such a difficult game. It's such a long process. And, as soon as you start getting results, they change everything. So it's very frustrating. Yes. Tell me about, did you apply what you learned on your own business first? The reason I'm asking this is you might also know someone who's mentored me for a while, Gary Vaynerchuk. He says that what he's done is he's obviously built his father's business from doing 3 to 60 million, and he's applied different things, and then he went agency because of what he learned. Have you done the same thing? Have you gone to this course, applied it on your business, saw it successful, and then developed the passion that you want to help more people?
Yes. So I originally started the whole thing for our own business, and I started applying it, like you said, and I saw it was working. I helped a couple of friends out with their businesses as well. And that's when I decided to actually go all in the big actual course and just do the agency and start doing marketing for other people, for small businesses. So yes, everything that I learned, even now, I apply in my own business.
What kind of business did you apply it on at first? What business is it?
Our other business is called Profile Monkey. It is, we do CNC plasma cutting. So it's steel fabrication and plasma cutting, laser cutting, that type. So it's all steel. It's very boring. No, I'm joking.
Okay, so that's a very good case study, because I want to talk then about when I coach people, I teach them 4 pillars to a successful media platform, and one of them is content. And so there's a lot of things we can say about that. Like if you, it's not good for you to just do advertising when there's no content going out, because then you're really putting ads in a hole. Nobody knows you. There's no relationship. You've built no affinity. There's no brand visibility. And so people see your ad, besides the fact that on every platform, people develop ad blindness, and later on you don't see the ad anymore. If the ad's not really strikingly grabbing your attention, you're really, really wasting your money there. It's not a waste of time or money, but it has to be coupled with a content strategy.
Yes.
So your CNC business that you applied this on, I'm very interested in hearing a little bit about what kind of content that you guys create, and what was your ROI? What was the objective of the campaign that you guys worked on?
Shoo, that was a long time. That was like 3 years ago. So I'm going to have to speak under correction here. But the campaign that I ran originally, look, it was a small campaign. It was when I was still learning. But one of the areas of our business that I did, that I enjoyed, was the very arty-farty stuff. So we did quite big decorative screens, decorative laser cut, the leaves and the flowers, those types, security doors and screens. And that's something that I wanted to promote because it's quite high end. Especially in South Africa. So it was a new kind of security door that you could have cut out of steel, and it looks pretty. It's not just these bars. So I ran a campaign on that. That was one of the campaigns, and I thought it was going to tank. I ran it for like only 2 weeks. So the content strategy on that was I did a really cool blog. So I did a traffic campaign going to the blog, trying to get that branding, trying to get eyeballs on our website, etc. On our landing page. And then I retargeted those people with a conversion campaign, trying to get them. We had a special on, a specific size door, and it's obviously custom design. So, which is something totally different. I haven't actually seen anything like that again. So that was the thing. And it ran for about 2 weeks, and I got, 20 leads, it's not mind-blowing stuff. But a week later, one of those leads phoned me. Well, I followed up with them, and they called back, and they're like, no, please, can we come out? They want us to quote. And we ended up getting, so I think I spent 2,000 Rand, 2 or 3,000 Rand on that campaign, and we closed a 40,000 Rand deal
Awesome.
job. Just on that one ad, on that one campaign. So, it doesn't have to be, I think a lot of people are under the impression that you have to have big bucks, you have to spend a lot of money before you can actually start getting a return, or before it's worth running ads. And what I teach is that you don't have, look, it's great. If you have money to throw at Facebook, you can put 1 Rand in and you can get 3 Rand or 10 Rand out. It's awesome. If you can spend, I know someone that spends 800,000 Rand a month just on Facebook ads, but they make 5 million back, so then it's worth it. But you don't have to be that guy. You can spend 3 or 5 or 10,000 Rand a month and make a return on that. If your content is good and there's obviously a whole lot of stuff that goes, what is your offer, all that type of stuff creates your offer, your campaign. But it is possible to have a lower spend and still get return on your investment. So that was like one of my first campaigns that I did. So I was really chuffed with that for our own business. And then the other one that we did is I created almost a little bit like it was more of an e-com kind of strategy. I wanted the people to pay online. So made these little mini spit bras. I don't know if you might have seen them online. So they you can get like fit 2 chickens inside of them. It's really cool. Gas or coal spit bra. I'm gonna start selling them again. So I had a campaign. I let that run for in the background for 2 months. Every day that campaign, that ad brought in 2 leads. So that's 60 leads a month. If I followed up with all of them, which I didn't, which is my fault, which is where the biggest problem comes with clients, is they don't actually call their leads. But if I did, I probably would have converted a lot more. But we sold, I can't remember, but I know that we did make a ROI on that as well. I think I also spent like 3,000 Rand or really something tiny. And I mean, that's the sale of one spit fry. And we sold a lot more than one. Let's say we sold 10, so I would have 10x my investment.
Amazing. I think for the audience, it's important that we mention that this business on that side seems like it's boring if you're in the factory and those kind of things. But you can be very creative. There's literally anything that you can go and do marketing on. It doesn't matter what it is. A lot of times people look at this at digital and they say, but it won't work. And I'm in a lot of spaces where that's a presumption that people make, like networking as well. I say, my business won't work with word of mouth marketing. No, you're wrong. You can definitely make it work. It is just being creative and working on original. So
you need a strategy.
Yeah, strategy and just being creative, thinking out the box is a lot of, because I'm thinking, from if you're in the factory, you would think it's boring, but when you're on the other side where you are, Elana, and you're thinking about who is my client, then it becomes exciting because they play in a lot of different spaces, so you can have a lot of fun with that. Would you say that one of the challenges that you then realized is it's important if you see something working is that you rinse and repeat the process and maybe increase your spending on that?
Yes, so the ideal is that you want to, obviously, if you find that sweet spot, if you see something working, you want to start scaling. So if you know what I love about online marketing or any platform, any of the online platforms, whether it's Facebook, Google, they all work on the same principle, is once you start getting that data back and you're running ads and you're getting data back, you can see what's working, what's not working. If something is working for you, so let's say you're getting a lead in at $1 or $2 a lead or whatever it is. Let's say it's $1, and you're consistently kind of getting that. You can now start saying, okay, how many leads, how many sales do I want? I want to make 10 sales a month. Okay, what is my conversion rate? For every 5 people I speak to, I close 1 sale. Okay, so now I need 50. I don't know if my maths is right, but now I need 50 people leads a month. Okay, and I'm paying $1 a lead. Okay, so that's $50. Now you can start predicting your budget, your marketing, you can start planning, and that is what I love about it. You cannot do that with traditional media platforms, with an ad in a magazine or a newspaper or whatever, because you don't get that feedback, you don't get that data back. And that's what I love about it. So yes, definitely when you find that sweet spot, sometimes it takes a while, sometimes you get it, it's like a silver bullet and you get it right away. Then you can start scaling and you can say, okay, now instead of spending $50 a day, now I want to spend $100 a day or $1,000 a day. And then I know I'm going to get X amount. So you can scale and grow your business strategically as your capacity allows, which I find is really, really cool.
Besides scaling, is there a process that I can use where I can work on higher conversion, so increasing my conversion rate, and on the other side, lowering my ad spend?
There's so many things. There are so many things you do. So ultimately, that's what you want to start doing. When you start reaching your target, now you want to see, we're greedy like that. Hey, we always want to make it better. You want to see, okay, can I get it lower? So for me,
So talk to me about the conversion. What are the elements that can I go look at my landing page, improve that, my communication throughout? What are the things to increase the conversion?
So what you would look at, you're going to look at your funnel and you're probably going to work backwards. So you're going to first obviously look at your ad and see, okay, you're going to be looking at your click-through rate. What is your click-through rate? So industry standard across all industries, generally a good click-through rate is 1%. So if you're getting 1% or over, a lot of people think that's terrible, but it's actually really good. If you're getting 1% or above, you're actually doing really well. If it's under that, okay, people aren't, what does that mean? People aren't clicking or engaging with my ad. So there's something wrong with the ad, or there's place for improvement on the ad. So then you're going to start looking at headlines, your image, your creative, and your copy. Those are the 3 main elements of your ad that you always want to be tweaking and changing to see, because that's what it's all about. It's about getting as many people engaging with your ad, clicking on it, sharing it, loving it, liking it. because that's going to tell the algorithm people actually love this ad, so I'm going to show it to more people at a lower cost. So that's how you get your click-through rate up, so your cost goes down. So that's the first place you want to look. Then if your click-through rate is above 1% or 3%, whatever, and you think, okay, this is really great, you know your audience is good, your audience is right, then you want to go and look at how many landing page views am I getting. So let's say I'm getting 100 landing page views, but only 5 people have actually entered their email address. Okay, so there's something wrong with my landing page. That's what, so if your conversion rate over there is bad, then okay, the landing page isn't great. Then you want to go tweak that. It might be the color of the button, something stupid, or the headline, or you might just need to, it might just be a really ugly landing page and you want to redo it. So, so that would be the next step that you would look at. So they call it, you want to look where the leak in your funnel is. It's a leaky funnel. And those are the places where you want to go optimize and see how you can improve so you can get your click-through rate higher. And then when it comes to your landing page and your funnel, how you can get your conversion rate higher. Anything 20% up on a landing page conversion is average. Anything above kind of 30% is quite good.
Okay, so we've just to share a thought with you. I want your opinion. What we've done, we're working on a campaign now where we're positioning for a webinar. So we've got a database. We worked a nice, I won't say a funnel, but just communication out, a custom kind of email mailer that's branded. We sent it through, and our conversion rate's probably about 15-20% into the actual webinar, where obviously there's a different process. But one thing that we're working into the strategy is there is a relationship existing with this list. So what we're also adding on top of all this communication happening is a follow-up call, and that helps us identify the whole. So have you gotten my email? And we realized, like, hey, of the, say, 180 people, half of them didn't even open the email. So what is the problem there? And then did you get the email? Did you watch the video that we sent you? So that's obviously on the landing page. Did you go to the actual webinar? Are we going to see you there? So do you think, and the reason I started looking at this is because I noticed the guys at London Real does that. So that's one of the first podcast courses that I investigated. And I was just on the webinar, and in the middle of the webinar, one guy called me and said, hey, are you enjoying it? Can I help you with anything? Do you have any questions? I thought that was phenomenal. Wow. So we thought of bringing that into kind of helping the conversion, because for me, I hate a 1% conversion rate on so much effort. So we're constantly trying to see how can we engage with people and just push that 1% a little bit higher, or a 10%, 20, 30% conversion rate a little bit higher. What do you think of that strategy?
I think it's brilliant. Look, if you get someone on the phone and you can speak to a human, your conversion rate will go sky high. It's the same with following up in leads. It's telling people to phone within 5 minutes, or at least within, I think the statistics say if you phone within 20 minutes, your conversion rate will be something like 80%. Anything after that, it goes down to like 10% or something. So it just makes a difference. The word of mouth, old school phoning people, speaking to people will always be there, and it will always win. The big thing that we want to do now, we're lazy and we're very busy. So we want to automate everything. So that's why we have funnels. So we are going to have lower conversion rates. That's why we want big lists and big numbers. Everything is big, so that we can get that one, because then that 1% conversion is fine, But yes, I think that's a brilliant strategy. If you can get someone in, if you can get their number and actually phone them to make sure they're going to attend the webinar or whatever that is, I mean, that's brilliant. I can imagine that is going to skyrocket your conversions. Like you said, people, you can go look. I think an average, a good conversion rate, open rate on emails is 20%. I think that's like good. So that you can imagine, if you have a small list of 100 people or whatever, I mean, only 20 people are actually reading your email. So, which is not great, And that's how it works. Where and half of them maybe. A lot of people sign up for stuff. I know I do that. I register for stuff, and then it goes to like my extra email address that I have because I'm going to check it out later. I found it interesting, but then you get distracted, you get busy, life happens, and people don't end up pitching up live or whatever. So that's always the challenge with any kind of marketing that you do, especially a live, like a webinar or a challenge, whatever it is. That is the challenge, is getting people to actually pitch. So yes, having one of the things that I'm going to be trying now going forward is having a more one-to-one kind of what's the word I'm looking for now? Now I forget the word, but a more personal, in contact strategy that I have with my live launches. So I am personally messaging people. I am trying to, I'm not phoning them, but I'm trying to, all the other ways, I'm personally communicating with them, asking them questions, chatting with them, asking them if they need support, blah, 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 while we're going through the challenge, to give that extra kind of support that, you're not just a number. I'm not just trying to close a deal here. I actually care. My whole mission is to actually help people, empower people to be able to run their own Facebook ads, because it can be such a powerful tool. But I know not everyone has got $1,500 a month to pay an agency or to do a course, a very expensive course, or the time. So for me, it's really about thinking about the person that I'm helping. It's not about the money.
Okay, so one of the things that we've also done that I think could be valuable to people watching this or etc., is also to take a list and segment it and develop different email copy for different people, and then you do testing on the different copy to see what the open rates are everyone is. So what we've used pretty much the same copy for the email, but we've focused on specifically the subject headings, different subject headings for different people, and then seeing which one is opened, which is the conversion rate that opens more. So that really helps. I wanna ask you a question. I've got a personal gripe with this. Especially Facebook's like reactions, etc. So I'll sit with a client and they're like, "We've got 300 likes," and I'm like, "That doesn't mean anything. It actually means that it's useless information. What you're looking for is you're looking for comments, because it shows engagement and people are interested in what you're doing, and obviously shares, because that communicates there was value in what you were giving." What is your opinion on looking at likes, etc., as a measurement for success?
Likes on a post or on a page?
Either. But I would say let's focus on, I've done a post and now there's 200 likes and I'm excited. And now I'm disappointed. Next time I do a post and there's 3 likes.
Yeah. So, I mean, we call it a vanity metric. Same with the likes on a page. I have a client now that's quite new to, well, a potential client, and they have this they have this idea in their head. They want 10,000 likes. They want to run a likes campaign and they want 10,000 likes on their page. And I'm like, why? You can pay for, let's say you get a like for 1 rand. Do you have 10,000 rand to pay for 10,000 likes? Is that what you really want to spend your money on? Or do you want to spend your money on conversions? And the same with posts. Yes, likes. I mean, it's great if people like, if they love any positive interaction or engagement with your post, helps the algorithm feed it. But like you said, a share, a comment, if you can get people to actually comment on your post and say, wow, this is so great, anything positive, the algorithm picks that up. Anything negative, the algorithm picks it up as well. Big thing is to not delete those comments and to just either ignore them. You can hide them if you really want to.
Very important.
But Facebook will pick that up, and as soon as you start doing that, they're going to start penalizing that post. So yes, I agree with you. It's a vanity metric, and you want more. You want engagement, you want shares, you want comments. So that's why it's also very important, if it's just a post, to have a call to action, to say, ask a question and say, let me know in the comments or whatever, something like that. It helps the algorithm, it feeds it and lets it deliver it to more people.
So one thing that I teach is I call it a 3-step update. So if you do a post, it doesn't matter what it is, but preferably have some media like a picture or video. Your first step is telling people what this is. So this is in this video, I share this and this and this. So the algorithm picks the words up and people can also, okay, this is what I can expect. And then you give the second step is giving your opinion on what is inside. So this is important to me because I found this works, etc., etc. And then the third one, very important, what you mentioned there, is ask a question, because I've seen, besides the adage that you don't get if you don't ask, people need to be told what you want from them. They're not going to leave a comment unless it's a very controversial, polarizing thing. They're not necessarily going to do that. But if you ask them questions, and then also another thing, when you're asking your questions, let it be an open-ended question. Don't ask a question that's going to give you yes, no, maybe. Rather ask, what are your thoughts on this? Or how do you experience that? And those comments in the algorithm also helps really push it up, and the more you get of that, I've seen that especially in Facebook groups. So if I want my post to do really well, like I'm maybe recruiting people for an event or something like that, I go and I do the post, I have at least an image, I do the value propositions, explain what everything is about, and then ask. But sometimes I'm sneaky and I say, if you're interested, type interested below. And I know it's just a word, but it's really magic when people go and say, I'm interested, or tell me more, or so on. Every time a comment goes, it pushes that post back to the top of the group. And exactly. I've literally built businesses and launched efforts that make me about 25K to 100K at a time on one post, Elana.
Wow.
One post.
Well done.
One post. So at the end of the day, engagement metrics are very, very important. I think that, and people don't understand that. Look, I want to get very. Let's have some insider talk, right?
Okay.
How frustrating is it when you work with someone and they're like, don't worry, I know how to use Facebook. And they're like, they have been using Facebook for the last year or 2 or even 3. And they're like, they know what's going on. And then you look at the stuff and you're just like, and you really have give a deep sigh. Can we talk about, there's a big difference between a Facebook user with a timeline and your profile, and someone really engaging in breaking apart the different elements that makes a successful campaign?
Yes, so I think a big issue, especially in South Africa, well, in the world really, is, and why it's actually quite bad for digital marketing companies. A lot of people call themselves digital marketers and advertise themselves as such, but they actually don't know how to use Facebook, the ad campaign strategy, the right way. There's actually, the business manager. I mean, you get business manager and ads manager. So I have had people come to me saying they've paid people 10,000 Rand a month. And when I go look, these people have just been not even boosting posts. They've just been doing organic, just posting in the page. They haven't been spending any money on ads. So I'm like, okay, well, pay me that money.
There's also companies where you charge people 3,000 or 5,000 Rand, and you literally take an ad and you go post it in 1,000 groups online. There's no value in that, because you're harming the company, because they come across as spammers, and it's a very bad image online. Yeah.
Yes. So so I think it's a big thing. That's also one of my kind of strategies, and one of the things I want to create awareness on with clients is that learn how to do. So what I want to teach, especially with people in the holistic profession and even in ministry, anything to do with body, mind, spirit. Because what I found on my own journey, looking for certain things for anxiety, depression, those types of things, I've discovered wonderful modalities, natural, like medicines and stuff. And, I'm like, wow, this is so amazing. Like, you guys need to market this. They're like, well, it's been around for 30 years. I'm like, what? Why hasn't no one knows about this thing, like body talk or even just spiritual coaching or whatever it is. And I'm like, people, you don't understand, especially now in today's time after this year, how important it is for you guys to become, put yourself out there, because people there's an issue with people being put on pharmaceuticals for, for stupid things. It's so easy to just grab a pill. Anyway, so I digress. I'm on a different topic now. So, but what I want to teach is learn how to do your ads, do the fundamentals first. Know what a business manager is, know what a Facebook pixel is, know what your ads manager is, and how to build your audiences, how to read your stats, your metrics. So by the time you are in a place where you can outsource that job, your ads, when you're interviewing someone or someone says, and you ask them about, do you know what a lookalike audience is? Or do you know how to create a pixel? And they say, oh, no, I don't know. Then you're like, no, okay, well, then you're not the right fit for me, because that person then doesn't actually know what they're doing. And they're charging you millions of dollars for it. So it's very important, I think, for people to really understand how the platforms work, what the algorithm does, and then and that it's about not, I think there's also this myth, or not a myth, it's like the old days, it's about slapping an ad together, printing it in a magazine, you think it's your brand and whatever, and you kind of, you spraying and praying, you're hoping it's going to work, because there's no way of getting that data back. Where now, because we have this intellectual system that we're working with, getting data back, there's a lot more that goes into creating an ad. I always say, people like, oh, let's do an ad. It's not just an ad. It's not just about the picture and the copy and the headline. It's a campaign. It's a marketing campaign that you're setting up. You need to go look for audiences. I need to find your ideal clients. There's research that's involved. There's the tracking that needs to be set up, the tech in the background, all that stuff. It's like, it's easy to me. I always take for granted that I know this stuff, and I'm like, ooh, and you don't want to charge too much for it. But like, other people don't know this, and they need to. So exactly. Yes, I think it's very important, and it is frustrating. It's frustrating when you get a client and they're like, oh no, I'm on Facebook, I'm running ads, but all that they've been doing, or the person that's what they've been doing, has been boosting posts, which is like it's not the most wrong thing to do, but it's not always the right strategy.
It's one of them, yeah.
For the businesses, it's boosting posts. It doesn't do the trick unless it's maybe for an event.
Yeah. I just want to mention, for those that are watching, on behalf of us both, please, when you get leads from your digital marketer or your marketing company, please follow them up. Because Elana, what you've mentioned it before, it's, what we find is, your campaign in your eyes is a success because you've given the company these 100 leads, but they haven't actually found anyone. And then it's like, okay, now where's the ROI of the whole thing? I'm like, yes. Did you actually follow through with the campaign? So that's very important. What do you think of the recent surgence of challenges as a marketing strategy?
Well, I'm using that strategy. So I think
Tell us about it.
I think it's a good strategy. I think, it's definitely, I think with a lot of people, especially in the coaching industry, a lot of people that have now come online, that have put their business, they've taken the plunge, they've had to, they've probably done a whole lot of courses, or they have a coach, and a lot of the bigger coaches, business coaches, are teaching that strategy on what we call live launching. And part of that strategy is either doing a challenge or a workshop or a masterclass. It's the same concept as having a webinar funnel, except this is done live. So what I like about it is that it's live. So you've got high touch. That's the word I was looking for now. It's high touch, a high touch point that you're having. So people can immediately interact with you live. It's not recorded. It's not, it's not scripted. You're giving value, a lot of value. So I always make sure that I overshare. I really give a lot of value. I want to try and help people as much as possible for free. And what it does is build that know, like, and trust really, really quickly. So people can immediately see, and you would know this, if they're going to like you or not. Can I work with this person? Maybe I don't like her pink hair, so no, I can't deal with that. So, and that's okay. People are going to like me, they're not going to like me. We can't please everyone in the world, but that's how you kind of build your tribe. That's how you build trust. People can immediately see, you know, do I like the way she talks? Do I like the way she teaches? Does she know what she's talking about? I hope so. And when I did my last challenge, my sister actually, I was doing interviews. I was interviewing my previous clients and all the success stories. And she's like, wow, I'm seeing all these interviews. You look so professional. It actually looks like you know what you're doing. I'm like, wow.
I do actually know a little bit, yeah.
I hope so.
Yes.
But yes, I like the challenge, and then you launch, you open cart, it goes into what your offer is. If you have a program, I quite like that strategy. It worked for me. I see it work for a lot of my clients are coaches and they do that. It's working for them. If you can find the right audience and you've got your niche, then it definitely works. It's a lot of work. It's hard work, but also I say it's hard work, but if you love what you do, you know, you love to do it. So, and it's also a process. What's nice about it is it's a rinse and repeat. Once you've done that first challenge, or you've got your topics, you've got everything, you can literally redo that launch every 2 months, every 3 months, depending on, you know, what your offer is, how high ticket you are. And that's what's nice about it. It's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
So tell us, what are the mechanics of a challenge? Is it you take whatever you'll be doing with someone, you give them a light version of that and say, go and implement this every day. People see a result at the end of it and say, okay, if you want more, then go into the full program. How does it work?
Yes, so you can pretty much take obviously it needs to be in line with your signature offer that you have. So it must be in the same context. So my signature offer is Book Out Your Business, where I empower entrepreneurs and holistic wellness professionals to actually run their own ads and automate their marketing. But my challenge is going to be from setup to success. So it's literally, I'm going to be showing people how to get set up the right way. So from setting up your business manager, your ads manager, how to create a pixel, all those first steps that I always see people don't know. People that are just boosting posts, they want to be running ads, but they have no idea where to start. And Facebook does not make it easy. I've been working in the back end for 4 years now, and even now with the update, you know, literally everything that was on the left side is now on the right. Everything that was on the right is now on the left. I mean, it's like Zuckerberg and them sit there in the room. I don't know if they're smoking.
And they laugh, yeah. Like,
and they're like, okay, how can we make people's lives difficult this year, you know?
Yeah,
but anyway,
definitely.
it keeps it fresh. It keeps me on my toes. So I see it that way. At least, you know, I've got it. I'll still remember where that button is. But the navigation I don't know if you find it easy, but if you don't know where to go or what button to click on in the business manager, it's not a user-friendly interface. So I'm going to be going through all of that from the setup all the way to how to create a winning ad. What are all the elements? And obviously, I mean, there's not enough time in 5 days, in 1 hour a session, to go into the detail. But I'm giving people a lot of value and a very in-depth look into what it takes to set up and to create a winning ad campaign. Some of them might actually be able to do it. Others, people that haven't started at all, will they obviously won't create the actual ad, but they'll get a very, very, very good look at what it takes. And then hopefully by the end of that, when I open cart and then I open up my intake for Book Out Your Business, they'll realize, okay, well, this is actually a little bit harder than I thought. It's not doable. You can go do. So that's what I did when I started out. I went and did every free thing that I could find. I followed every guru. And I'm tech savvy. So, I mean, I created my pixel. I did business manager. I did all that crap. But at the end of the day, if you don't have time, if you're a business owner, you're working in your business, to now go and sit and watch YouTube videos and free stuff to figure out how to now create an ad campaign, there's not time for that. It's you can fast track that. And in a couple of weeks or in 6 weeks or a couple of months, actually learn how to do it properly from someone that is doing it. And that's my kind of philosophy. Instead of, I'm over going and figuring out, saving money and figuring shit out myself. If there's someone that knows how to do it, just pay the freaking person and like show me how to do it, please. But yeah, so that's the strategy. It's showing what it is, and then obviously your course is the how, where you're showing people actually how to do it.
I started coaching probably about 5 years ago, and the reason I did that is because I also had an agency, and I'm saying this carefully because it sounds like you're doing both. So just help me here. Do you have an agency where you do things on behalf of people, but you also coach on how to do it?
Yes, so I have an agency, but I've been wanting to transition into coaching for a very long time, and at last I've taken that step. So I want to transition more into coaching and mentoring, but I do still have the agency side. So a lot of my, like the coaches, the higher end coaches, actually just don't want to do it themselves. So they will, especially for their launches and that type of thing, they will come to me and say, okay, Elana, I want you to handle the ads for me. But that's like just the ads. I used to do funnels and funnel building and the whole thing, but I've actually haven't had a lot of clients come to me for that. So now I'm just focusing on the ads. So I'm doing both, but I'm hoping to transition fully into coaching. But in this space, like I said in the beginning, it changes so rapidly that I have to actually have a handful of clients all the time, so that I'm making sure I'm staying up to date and I'm trying new strategies and all of that stuff. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose out.
So are you comfortable talking about the risks of agency versus the value of a coach?
Yeah. How do you mean?
So can I tell you my
What is your question?
Now I'm just making sure you're comfortable with us talking about this, because I had an agency as well. It was about 5 years ago, and I built this massive platform myself. Me and my team, we built a platform for a pharmaceutical company. It was the full thing. We did. So to give you an idea, we built a website. We had the branding, the design, that full kind of social media. So back then we did the five for me was Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Google Plus, etc. And so we did digital on that. We did content creation. We posted it up. We hosted Twitter chats once a week, and we did well considering the niche. The niche was sinusitis, so we made sinusitis excited, and it was a big challenge. And we did it in two different kind of disciplines and things. And then all of a sudden, new management came in and they canned everything. And I was very sad and frustrated, because we even developed like an app and everything. And I was very sad because we did all of this work and now it's all gone. And so I decided that I would rather want to coach, because when I coach, then I can help you do it in your business. Gary Vaynerchuk says you should be a media company / a CNC manufacturer. And I think that's what you guys have done. You should focus on media, and you should, be in communicating and creating content. And so as a coach, as you transition into this coach, I've been doing it full time for 5 years, and it's very rewarding. The challenge of that is, so the benefits is, as a client, I pass my knowledge on to you, which is very valuable, because now you can do it in-house. The challenge with that is, again, people don't implement what they learn quite often. And so that's where the disconnect comes. And I think that's where the agencies that we have is important, because people say, you know what? Number one, I understand everything. I love the sessions. I don't have the time. So now you come in and say, okay, we can do it for you, even though I prefer you do it yourself. So do you find that as well?
Yes. So what I'm trying to do, that's exactly it. I had my program. I was going to launch it as a group program originally, but then lockdown happened. So I created a membership. But with everything going on, I didn't market it a lot. But I got a couple of people on the membership. So the membership was DIY. You've got access to the whole course. Go do it. Great. But you've got full 24/7 support. in the Facebook group where you can support. But they don't do it.
But even when that people sign up, you look in the back and you see this guy's done 8% of everything, and then they stopped.
Exactly. And I must say, I'm also one of those people. I've bought tiny little courses before. The other day, I'm like, sure, I bought a course, like something about goal setting or content. I'm like, shit, I must actually go look, did I?
So Elana, what is the solution here? What I'm doing now is I've got an accountability email that goes out every day which says, listen, just 10 minutes, spend time, watch these 2 videos and do that thing. And over time, then you build momentum, etc. And then I try to have a coaching call with groups once a month so I can keep them engaged and accountable, etc. Yeah. Do you think that'll be enough to get people pulled through the program?
I don't know. So for me, my strategy is my group program is that it's a 6-week program, but I'm drip feeding the content. So every week so you don't get overwhelmed. Every week you have X amount of video. I mean, it's like 3 hours worth of videos, and you have to go let's say you have to go set up your business manager or create your pixel, do that. And then every Monday I have a group Q&A session for that group. So the group is first of all moving together. They can help each other. And then every Monday I have a group Q&A session where they can then ask questions for that previous week. So I'm trying to help them, stay accountable and actually get them, because that's what I want. I want the people to create winning ad campaigns because I know that they can. I know I can help them do that. But like you say, they need to implement. And it's tough because life happens. You're a business owner. You've got your business. You get distracted. And you put it on the side. Where this is actually with my last intake, it seems to be working. Some people still do fall behind, but because I'm there and I'm holding them accountable every week, and I'm in the group, I'm asking questions, I'm telling them, I have a little assignment that they need to fill in. Right. It does seem to prompt them to actually do that week's work. So that's kind of what's my thought. But on another, in a scaling, if I look at scaling the business, it can become, you only have so much capacity. So now I'm kind of already starting to think, okay, how can I automate this? Because you actually want like an evergreen funnel. But there needs to be a balance. I think what I would love is to have the membership for people that want to do it themselves, where you've got monthly income coming in, small amounts, but you have maybe a larger quantity of people, but you're working one-on-one, or you're working more intimately in groups, and then you need to say, how many people can I handle at a time, 20 or 50. If I want to take in more, I need to start employing people and start building a bigger team around me, which would be great. But, does that fit in your business model? So there has to be, if you want people to finish, there has to be some form of accountability. There has to be that coaching, and they need to want to do it.
We were talking earlier. You mentioned showing people. There's this quote, this adage that says, "People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care." What have you found the balance is between showing that I care and there needs to be business being done on the other side? Because if you, for instance, do a charity thing or a campaign around caring or community, etc., there's this risk of people seeing right through it, either immediately or later, when people realize, oh, what you actually wanted to do is you wanted to, sell something, etc. How can we authentically care for people and know that there's a business on the other side? I have a thought that I think could make a difference here, but what are your thoughts on that?
I just think you need to be authentic from the outset. So like with me, if I run a challenge, I mean, I obviously promote that it's a free challenge, but I don't hide the fact that I have a signature program that I'm going to sell, or that I'm not going to sell, I'm not going to pitch it. I'm going to open up the doors, and there is this program. That's obviously why I'm doing what I'm doing. So
I've seen it with a lot of the successful people.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Thank you. Sorry, man.
No. I was just going to say, if you're authentic from the beginning and you Don't hide it. Don't be salesy or spammy or scaly. Just be authentic. If someone asks, someone messaged me the other day, oh, I see your thing is for free, but what are the charges after that? And I'm like, it's not. I'm going to be opening up my next intake for my group program. It costs that much. That's it. There's no other charges or anything. It's, and that's, you join if you want to join, if you want to. So it's being upfront about it and authentic about it. Everything, especially now online, is about authenticity. Just, you have to be yourself. And I think people also a lot of people do that because they have fear and self-doubt, and they're scared of charging for their skills and their abilities, especially people that are in ministry or that type of thing. And you shouldn't be. If that is your gift that was given, and if you are helping people, you're changing people's lives, you're allowed to be remunerated for that.
I love that.
Yes.
I've seen, some of the very successful people like Jeff Walker and Pat Flynn. They do their webinar, and at the beginning they're like, guys, we're going to give you amazing value, but I am going to give you an opportunity to get in my program at the end, just so people know that up front. And we're not going to make a sale or whatever. It's available. This is how you get connected, etc. I think that's a safe way of doing it.
Yes.
But I think this thing that we've got value to give, and we're fearful or concerned about charging people. I think it's important that you value yourself enough and that you understand, listen, if I'm going to work with someone, I'm going to put in time. There is a value in that, and I need to be able to be confident to charge people. Like if I'm around a table and people say, okay, how do we move forward? A lot of times when I engage with people, money is not even mentioned. We're just like, okay, how do we move forward? Well, you pay this much ahead, and we get started, and this is the process. And I've never had anybody flinch. So I think if the value is there, then that is like part of the conversation. It's not a major thing.
Yes, if you're giving, remember, it's all about the perceived value. So if you're giving a solution to that person's problem, whatever it might be, if they find that the value is more, what they're going to get is more than what the price is, they're going to buy from you. But you need to know that the value that you're giving, you need to believe in your own offer, in your own price, in yourself, what you're giving. And that'll come across. That'll come across when you're speaking to the people. And then it won't be an issue. And you need to be clear, I think, and I struggle with this. I need to go and sit, and I need to go look at my avatar work. Who's my ideal client? What is their problem? What are they actually, because I'm so distracted and busy that I forget. And I need to, what is their problem? What am I helping them with? And what is the value that I'm giving? What am I actually, selling? And then I need to remind myself about that and say, okay, Elana, you do know what you're doing. I need to give myself a little pep talk. And then when I've finished my challenge or my lives, or I've spoken to someone, a client, and they're like, okay, when do we get started? I'm like, wow, okay, that actually worked. Because because suddenly I believe in I have to remind myself what results I give clients. I very quickly shoot myself down and say, it's actually so easy. You just go in and you quickly click here, and it's not easy for everyone, just because it's easy for me. And that's what I charge for. I charge. It doesn't matter if I do. Remember, you don't pay me for my time. You pay me for
my
how
experience.
I can actually do something. I've spent a lot of years and a lot of money learning how to do it very quickly. So it's remembering all those little things, so that you have the confidence. And you have, like you say, the self-worth. You have to be able to, if you have a passion or a gift that you think this is your gift or your passion, you should be able to charge for it. If it's legitimate, if you are giving people results, whatever it is, you should be able to remunerate yourself for that. And what's nice, like with the coaching, or if you're really loving what you do, is that a lot of times then you have a choice. If you're getting paid for sharing your gift, you will probably come across people that can't afford you. But then you have a choice. You can choose to help that person. for free, or out of your own will. So, and that's also super, super rewarding. That's when it becomes really rewarding.
I've got two or three more questions before we end, Elana. But first, I'm very impressed with your background there. Can you talk me through your process on when you were looking at the background and designing it? What were you looking at?
What background? This background.
That's it, yeah. It's minimalistic, very simple, but very, 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 it looks very, very nice.
You don't want to see what the rest of the room looks like.
Exactly.
So I played around with freaking green screens, and I've bought sheets on stands behind me, and everything was just. I nearly recorded like my whole course, and then I sent it to a video editor, and the green screen wasn't on. Something, I don't know, everything crashed, all my videos. So I thought, F this, I am now going to create.
You have to redo everything.
Yeah. So no, it's just, I actually saw one of my coaches, her background looks a lot like this. So I took that as inspiration because I liked it. And yeah, so I went and bought a couple of things at Cheat Street or Mr. Price, and there you go.
Awesome. And so comparing to having all the sheets and all the technical things that we think makes it professional versus the effort and time that it costs you to do what you've got now, the comparisons is just, it's not even close.
Yeah, it's just so much easier. I still need to invest in some decent lighting and stuff, but I think, the green screen thing and now maybe because I know what it looks like, but I feel like I can always see if someone is using a green screen or not most of the time. If you're not using,
there's always a patch that looks like an electronic glitch in it.
So I'm like, no, I'm not going to sickle anymore. Just get a wall, paint it a nice color, and go for it.
So how does your coaching work? Do you charge per hour? Or do you work per project, or how do you work? Is it
no? So at the moment it's just a group program. It's 6 weeks long, so you pay for the actual program.
How much is that?
$625. That's for the pay in full. Then I'm going to have a 3-month payment plan as well, which makes it really affordable. And then I also have a VIP track where I include building your funnel and your landing page and stuff, a little done for you service there. So we go on a 6-week journey together. It's a group that does it together. But then you have the full-on support, my support in the private secret Facebook group where everyone kind of learns from each other as well, which is quite nice, and that carries on. And then you have access to it for life. The course, you have access to the course material, anything for life, and anything that I add, will get added in. So it's pretty much that 6-week major program.
It's interesting in terms of the engagement and staying connected to people. What I've done, I've worked on I've done the online content I started creating in December, and I just went full on because it was just a natural thing to do. As soon as COVID hit, I went full into my online platform. And so what I've done is I've also got the Facebook kind of group. We've got the accountability email that goes out to give them support. We obviously have FAQs. We have a support function, so you can go and click and support. But what I've also found is something new. I was thinking, it would be nice to engage with people and be available. Facebook is nice, but not everybody's always there. What I know is people always have their devices to them. The challenge with WhatsApp is they only allow 200 and something people in a group. So I haven't tested it much really, but I just downloaded Telegram, and it allows you to have 200,000 people in a group. So I'm busy testing that out. I'm going to test it long term and see how that works. I know that Gary Vaynerchuk is also texting is a very big engagement tool for him where he builds his community. So I think I'm going to be doing that. Two more questions for you.
Sorry, I also use Telegram. I try to get, like you said, WhatsApp. I try to keep WhatsApp for friends and family. So I know, because I'm one of those, I'm not actually OCD, but when it comes to tech, if I have that little reminder saying that there's 3 messages, I have to go open the message. And in WhatsApp, it just disappears. So I try to keep that, but I use Telegram for clients. colleagues and clients is Telegram. It works very, very well. And then another thing, I don't know if you know Voxer. If you've heard of Voxer. So Voxer is quite a, so when I do one-on-one, when I have a one-on-one client that I do packages, it's like a semi-coaching package. So someone that has already set up their Facebook, they're already running ads, but they want help on optimizing it. They don't know all the stuff, the audiences and that. So I'll do like 2 1-hour Zoom sessions. I'll get all the information beforehand, and I'll take them through where their leaks are. And then during that week where they're running their campaign and doing the optimization, I'll tell them they can contact me over Voxer. So Voxer is like a walkie-talkie app.
Oh, wow.
It's also like WhatsApp and Telegram. They're all much of a sameness. I mean, voice note, walkie-talkie, same thing. But it's also just to kind of separate who are your one-on-one clients, who are these clients, who's friends and family.
Right.
So awesome. That's another one that works quite well as well.
Elana, I'm a business and I'm coming out of COVID now and I want to re-engage the marketplace and build my visibility. What are the 3 first things that I have to do so that I can get back into the market?
Oh, God. Well, you have to get online. If you don't have a website, you have to have a website. If you don't have a Facebook profile, you need to get a Facebook profile at least, and Instagram, depending on what business. If it's B2B, you need to be on LinkedIn. You need an online presence. People don't know, and they cannot buy from you if they don't know you exist. And today, if you're working from home, if you don't have a physical location or a store, you need to have that online. You need to create that presence. So, and going with that is, I think, one of the things I find is really important is your branding. You have to have a really good brand. It's really worth the investment in getting someone that really understands branding. And I'm not just talking about a logo and whatever. I'm talking about your personal brand or your company brand. What does it stand for? What is your mission? What is your value statement? All those things come across in the content you create, in the images you use, all those things. So you have to create that online presence, and then once it's there, consistency, content and consistency. So, which I hate, which I'm so bad at. And that's another place where I think it's so worth investing in someone that actually does that. You know, you get people that are social media managers, they're not digital marketers, but they have a background they understand sales psychology, they understand the whole thing that the digital marketer does, but they do what we call organic posting and organic strategies. So you need to be posting at least once a day or at least 3 times a week. You need to be using high quality, proper images that speak to your brand. You need to be giving value in your posts. You need to be interesting. People, if you want people to buy from you, it needs to be interesting in context of what you're selling or what your business is. But those are the things. I would say getting an online presence, having a brand or creating a brand, and then being consistent online, because it snowballs. The more consistent, I've seen it with myself. Sometimes I step back, like going through some episode or something, and I'm like, okay, I need to detox, and I don't go online or I don't post for like a month or for 3 weeks. It has an effect. Suddenly I show up live when I'm doing a challenge, and people are just coming out of the woodwork, phoning me and saying, oh my word, you're the expert. Please, can you help me with this? I'm like, wow, okay, cool. And it's because you're putting yourself out there. You have to put yourself, your face, your business, your brand out there. Otherwise, people are not going to know. You have to be top of mind. Otherwise, they're not going to know to contact you.
I found that a lot of people, after I do a video like this, a lot of people watch afterwards. So would you give everyone a question that they can respond to on this video, even if they watch it afterwards?
Oh my word, a question. Okay. My question would be, I'm assuming the people watching this are mainly business owners or entrepreneurs. So my question is, how do you serve? So not what do you do to make money? How do you serve? That is a question I ask myself every day to remind myself I'm not chasing the money. I'm not on the hamster wheel. It's about serving people. It's about serving for me, the Lord, and how am I empowering people? The money comes afterwards. It comes when you're doing what you love. So that's my question. How do you serve?
How do you serve others? Thank you, Elana. I really enjoyed today's interview. I think there's a lot that people can learn from it. So I thank you for that. For those watching, if you are watching this live, just go click for notifications. I would love if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Really amazing. And then you can get updates as we go along. And then I want you to know, if you give everything you've got, every time that you do anything, you can be the best. Thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you again at 10 o'clock tomorrow. There you go, Elana.